Listen carefully. Something is about to happen to you. Not tomorrow, not next year, soon. And when it happens, you will remember this exact moment. The moment you almost scrolled past this video. A door is opening, and on the other side of that door stands a person you have never met, but who has already been assigned to your story by the hand of God. This person is coming. And when they arrive, they will make you an offer so unexpected, so undeserved, so far beyond what you thought your life could hold, that you will fall to your knees and weep. Hear this clearly. This is not luck. This is not coincidence. This is not the universe. This is God, moving pieces on a board you cannot see, positioning a person, a moment, a door, weeks and months before you ever prayed for it. Because that is who He is. He does not wait for you to ask before He starts preparing the answer. He was working on this before you knew you needed it. He was working on this while you were crying in your car, while you were being ignored, while you were being underestimated, overlooked, and left out of rooms you should have been invited into. He was already writing this chapter. And now, it is time to turn the page. If you are watching this, something in you knows. You have felt it. A strange stirring in your spirit. A restlessness that will not let you settle for the small life everyone around you seems content with. You have felt yourself pulling away from people, from noise, from places that used to feel like home, but suddenly feel too small for who you are becoming. That is not confusion. That is preparation. God is saying, I am not making you comfortable right now. I am making you ready. Because what is coming, you could not have carried it a year ago. You could not have carried it even 6 months ago. You needed to be broken first. You needed to be emptied first. You needed to lose what you lost, so your hands would be open when the real thing finally arrived. Brace yourself, chosen one. A powerful person is stepping into your path. Not a random person, not a coincidental meeting, a divinely appointed one. Someone with resources, position, influence, or opportunity that God has been holding, like a sealed envelope, waiting for the exact day you would be ready to open it. And when they speak to you, when they look at you and make their offer, it will feel too big. It will feel unreal. Part of you will want to run from it because you have spent so long believing you were too small, too overlooked, too not enough for anything this large to be meant for you. But hear this clearly. It is meant for you. It was always meant for you. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you will change the way you see every closed door, every rejection, every lonely night you have ever survived. This is your moment. Let's begin. For a long time, you have carried a weight nobody else could see. You have smiled in rooms while your heart was breaking. You have said, I'm fine, while everything inside you was screaming. You have watched other people get chosen, get promoted, get picked, get loved out loud, while you stood quietly on the outside, wondering what was wrong with you. Nothing was wrong with you. You were being set apart. Listen carefully. There is a difference between being rejected and being set apart. Rejection is what it looks like from the outside. Set apart is what it actually is on the inside, in the spirit realm, in the throne room of heaven, where your name has already been called. The world rejected you so that heaven could prepare you in private. Think about every person in Scripture that God used in a mighty way. Not one of them had an easy road to their calling. Not one of them was celebrated before they were tested. Joseph was thrown into a pit by his own brothers, the very people who should have protected him, before he ever stood in a palace. David was anointed king as a boy, then spent years running, hiding, and being hunted before he ever sat on a throne. Moses spent decades in a desert, forgotten, invisible, tending sheep, before God called him from a burning bush and told him he would set a nation free. Do you see the pattern? Before the palace, there is a pit. Before the throne, there is a wilderness. Before the burning bush, there is silence. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. And preparation always looks like loss before it looks like gain. Hear this clearly. Everything that has been stripped from you, the friendships that faded, the relationships that ended in silence, the jobs that didn't work out, the doors that slammed shut right when you thought they would open, none of it was random. It was heaven clearing the path. God does not build his masterpieces in crowded rooms. He builds them in solitude. He takes his chosen ones and pulls them away from the noise, away from the people who only loved the version of them that stayed small. And he begins the sacred work of transformation. This is why you feel different. This is why you no longer fit in the places you used to fit. This is why conversations that used to interest you now feel empty. Why relationships that used to fulfill you now feel hollow. Why the life you used to want no longer feels like enough. You are not losing your mind. You are gaining your calling. God is saying, I removed them because I am about to reveal something about you that they were never equipped to handle. Some people were only ever meant to walk with you through the wilderness season, not the promised land season. Some people were assigned to your pit, not your palace. And when God begins to elevate you, he will not always bring everyone with you. Some relationships were never meant to survive your growth. Some people will fall away, not because you did something wrong, but because your calling requires an altitude they cannot fly at. This is one of the most painful parts of being chosen. Nobody tells you how lonely it feels. Nobody tells you that some nights you will lay awake wondering why you feel so disconnected from people who are supposed to be close to you. Nobody tells you that you will grieve friendships that technically still exist, because the closeness is gone, and you don't know how to explain it to anyone, because if you tried, they would think you were being dramatic, or ungrateful, or strange. But you are not strange. You are being sanctified. Listen carefully. Sanctified means set apart for a holy purpose. And a holy purpose cannot be carried by a heart still tangled in shallow connections, still bleeding from old betrayals, still trying to prove its worth to people who never deserved the effort. God had to isolate you so he could heal what those people wounded. Think about the betrayal you experienced, the friend who talked about you behind your back, the person who used your kindness against you, the one who watched you struggle and did nothing, the one who smiled to your face while quietly working against you. That betrayal was not the end of your story. It was the beginning of your strength. Because here is a truth that very few people will tell you. God will allow betrayal in your life not to destroy you, but to disconnect you from what was never meant to go where you're going. Betrayal is often the exit door for people who were only assigned to a previous version of your story. It hurts. It hurts more than almost anything else. But it is also one of the clearest signs that you are approaching a new chapter. Because the enemy knows that if the wrong people stay close to you during your rise, they will either slow you down, water down your calling, or try to take credit for what God is doing in you. So God allows a shaking. He allows a sifting. He allows the fake to reveal itself so the real can finally stand beside you. Hear this clearly. God is not against you when he allows people to walk away. He is protecting the sacred thing he is building inside you. This is spiritual warfare, and you have been in the middle of it, whether you realized it or not. The enemy does not fear a comfortable, distracted, uncertain version of you. He fears the version of you that is broken open, humbled, and finally listening to God's voice above every other voice. That version of you is dangerous to darkness. That version of you carries authority. That version of you cannot be bought, cannot be manipulated, cannot be silenced. So the enemy tries to keep you small. He whispers lies in the silence. He tells you that you're forgotten. He tells you that everyone else is moving forward while you stay stuck. He tells you that the dream in your heart is foolish, unrealistic, too far out of reach. But listen carefully. Every lie the enemy whispers is actually a confession. He would not fight this hard against a dream that wasn't going to come true. He would not work this hard to discourage a calling that wasn't going to change lives. The intensity of the resistance is proof of the size of what's coming. You are not being tormented because you are weak. You are being tested because you are dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. And through all of it, through the silence, through the waiting, through the seasons where heaven felt quiet and your prayers felt like they were bouncing off the ceiling, you kept going. You kept believing, even when belief felt foolish. You kept whispering, "God, I trust you," even when your circumstances gave you every reason to stop. That faith did not go unnoticed. Hear this clearly. Heaven records every tear you cried in secret. Heaven remembers every night you chose faith over despair. Heaven has been watching you become who you needed to become, and now heaven is ready to move. The silence you experienced was not God ignoring you. It was God working. Sometimes the most important work He does is the work you cannot see. Rearranging circumstances, softening hearts, positioning people, preparing doors that have not opened yet, but are already unlocked. You were not stuck. You were being aligned, and now the alignment is complete. This is why a powerful person is about to step into your path. This is why an offer is coming that will feel too big for the life you have been living. Because you are no longer the person you were when the pain started. You have been through the fire, and the fire did not consume you. It refined you. Gold does not become gold by staying in the ground. It becomes gold by going through the flame. And you, chosen one, have been in the flame for a long time. You have felt the heat. You have questioned if you would survive it. But here you are. Still standing, still believing, still watching this video, still hungry for more of what God has for you. That hunger is holy. That hunger is a sign. That hunger means you are ready. God is saying, "I did not forget about you. I was never against you." Every delay was divine timing, not divine punishment. And now, the very thing you thought you missed out on is walking straight toward you. Get ready. Because this is only the beginning. Listen carefully. If you have already met the person I told you about, if the offer has already come, if the door has already opened, then this message is for you now. And if it has not happened yet, hear this clearly. What I am about to say will prepare you for the moment right after the miracle, because nobody warns you about that moment. Nobody tells you what happens after the breakthrough arrives. They only prepare you for the waiting. Nobody prepares you for the walking. Hear this clearly. Receiving the offer was never the finish line. It was the starting line of a completely new race, a race that requires a different kind of faith than the one that got you here. The faith that survives rejection is not the same faith required to survive elevation. The faith that keeps you steady in silence is not the same faith required to keep you humble in favor. God is not done shaping you. He simply changed the tools He is using. This is your part 2. There is a strange, quiet danger that comes right after a breakthrough, and almost no one talks about it. It is the danger of forgetting. Forgetting the pit while you're standing in the palace. Forgetting the tears while you're finally being seen. Forgetting the God who sat with you in the silence, now that the noise of blessing surrounds you. Listen carefully. This is exactly where the enemy shifts his strategy. He could not stop you from receiving the offer. He tried, through discouragement, through delay, through people who tried to talk you out of your own destiny. But he failed. The door opened anyway, so now he changes tactics. Now, instead of trying to keep you from your breakthrough, he tries to use your breakthrough against you. He will whisper, "You did this. You worked hard for this. You deserve to enjoy this without looking back." And on the surface, that sounds harmless, even reasonable. But hear this clearly. There is a razor-thin line between gratitude and amnesia, and the enemy wants you standing right on the edge of it, one step away from forgetting the very God who carried you here. This is why so many people rise and then fall, not because God stopped choosing them, but because they stopped choosing to remember. So before you go one step further into this new season, I need you to make a decision right now, in this moment, before the world gets its hands on your testimony and tries to rewrite it as your own achievement. Decide that you will remember. Remember the nights you cried yourself to sleep, believing nobody heard you, and know now that heaven heard every single word. Remember the friends who walked away and left you standing alone in a season that felt like abandonment, and know now that their absence was protection, not punishment. Remember the prayers that felt like they disappeared into silence, and know now that silence was never absence. It was preparation happening in a place your eyes could not yet see. If you remember where you came from, you will never be arrogant about where you are going. Hear this clearly. Humility is not weakness. Humility is the very thing that qualifies you to carry more. God does not resist the humble. He gives them grace upon grace, favor upon favor, door after door after door. But he resists the proud, not because he is cruel, but because pride cannot be trusted with power. Pride forgets its source, and when you forget your source, you eventually lose your supply. So stay low, even as you rise high. Stay tender, even as your influence grows. Stay grateful, even when the blessing becomes normal to everyone around you. This is the secret that keeps chosen ones chosen for a lifetime, instead of just for a season. Now let me speak to the wounds that are still healing, because breakthrough does not erase pain. It simply gives pain a new context. Some of you are holding this blessing with shaking hands, because the people who hurt you the most have not yet said sorry. The friend who betrayed you never called to apologize. The family member who dismissed your dream never admitted they were wrong. The person who made you feel small never watched you rise and said, "I misjudged you." Listen carefully. Your breakthrough was never meant to depend on their apology. God did not wait for them to make things right before he moved on your behalf. He moved anyway. He blessed you anyway. He opened the door anyway, not because they finally deserved to see it happen, but because you finally became who he always knew you could be. Let their silence stay in the past where it belongs. You do not need their apology to walk fully into what God has for you. Forgiveness was never for them. Forgiveness was the key that unlocked your own freedom, so that you would not carry their weight into a season that requires you to be light, unburdened, and ready to fly. Hear this clearly. You can bless people who never blessed you. You can forgive people who never asked for it. You can walk in victory while they remain exactly where they left you, stuck, bitter, small, because you refuse to let their behavior define the size of your future. This is spiritual maturity. This is what separates chosen ones who last from chosen ones who burn out. The ones who last learn how to release. The ones who burn out stay tethered to old wounds, dragging them into rooms that were never meant to carry that weight. Release it, right now. Let this be the moment you finally set it down. There is one more thing you need to hear before this message ends, and it may be the most important part of all. This offer, this door, this powerful person who stepped into your path, it is not the final destination. It is a bridge. Listen carefully. God rarely gives chosen ones the whole picture at once. He gives them the next step, and then the next, and then the next. If he showed you everything all at once, you would either run from the weight of it or try to control it with your own hands instead of trusting his. So do not mistake this season for the end of your story. It is simply the next door in a hallway that has many more doors waiting behind it. Stay teachable. Stay hungry. Stay in a posture of listening, because God is not finished speaking. The same voice that whispered to you in the wilderness will continue whispering to you in the palace, if you stay quiet enough to hear it. Some of the greatest falls in history happened not because someone lacked calling, but because they stopped listening the moment blessing arrived. They assumed they had learned everything they needed to learn. They assumed the hard part was over. Hear this clearly. The hard part is never truly over. It simply changes shape. New level, new devil. New blessing, new discipline required to steward it. New door, new wisdom required to walk through it without losing yourself. But you were not brought this far to fail now. The same God who prepared you in silence will continue preparing you in success if you let him. Chosen one, hear this final word. You have survived the wilderness. You have walked through betrayal without becoming bitter. You have held on to faith when everything around you said to let go. And now, standing on the other side of that impossible season, you are being trusted with something sacred. Do not waste it on pride. Do not waste it on bitterness. Do not waste it trying to prove something to people who never believed in you in the first place. Walk humbly. Walk gratefully. Walk in the quiet confidence of someone who knows their breakthrough was never a coincidence. It was a promise, kept exactly on time. If this word met you exactly where you are, comment "chosen" and let it be your declaration that you are ready to steward what God has entrusted to you. Strengthen your faith today, not just in the waiting, but in the walking. Trust his timing, even now, especially now, as you step into a season you have never walked before. And if this message spoke to your spirit, subscribe, because there is more waiting to be spoken over your life, and I do not want you to miss a single word heaven has for you. You are chosen, you are trusted, you are ready, walk forward, it's only just beginning.